Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the fourth race of the NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway for the Pennzoil 400. Today, we're doing things a little differently before we actually kick things off. As, of course, many people know, here in America, a week ago, America has suffered a tragedy. As American right-wingman and conservative political commentator Charlie Kirk was assassinated on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. And it left a hole in the heart of America, as it left several people speechless and devastated. And as you see, several crew members and several race fans are out there saluting with the American flag to honor the legacy of Charlie Kirk. And as we do that, we're going to take a moment of silence here as they remember Charlie Kirk. And as we conclude our tribute lap, we would like to give our sincere condolences to the Charlie Kirk family and everybody at Turning Point USA. A husband, a father, and a friend taken away from us way too soon. And today he was finally laid to rest in his home in Glendale, Arizona. Our thoughts are with his family. But tonight, 37 drivers are going to be racing here at the lost Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway, and they're going to be racing here for the fourth race of the NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series here for the Pennzoil 400. After all the events that we saw at Kansas Speedway for the Fastenal 400, we see Truex Jr. continuing to be the points leader. Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano finds himself in the top 20 after all of them finished in the top 3. Ryan Blaney exclusively getting that win at the Fastenal 400 after leading every single lap, the most dominant we've ever seen from a race. But this track right here is going to be a whole lot different. We are here at a super speedway race, and as a matter of fact, this track in particular has 6 individual turns. So instead of having 3 turns unlike Pocono, we actually have 6 turns here at Bermuda Triangle. Twice the turns, twice the fun. And speaking of which, we're going to finally take a look at your starting lineup here at the Pennzoil 400 here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway. Today's pole sitter in the Morton & Morton Chevrolet, it is none other than Kyle Busch in the 8th, looking to try to continue his strong momentum with Carson Hocevar, the Busch Light Clash winner, right next to him in row number 1. Row 2 features Chase Elliott starting in the 3rd place position and Brad Keselowski on beside him, starting in 4th. Most recent race winner Ryan Blaney is going to start in the 5th place position today with Austin Dillon right next to him in row number 3. And how about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. continuing his strong start to the season? He's going to start 7th here today. But how about AJ Allmendinger starting 8th here at Bermuda Triangle? A strong qualifying effort for AJ. And rounding up the top 10, we have Todd Gillen in the number 38 SpeedyCash.com Ford and Austin Cindric in the number 2 Richmond Water Heaters Ford Mustang for Team Penske. One driver that's trying to get back into the swing of things, Kyle Larson in the number 5, starting 11th. And there's Chris Buescher in the number 17, currently 2nd in the points right now. Let's see if we continue that strong momentum going early on in the season. And back here in row number 7, we have Josh Berry in the number 4, starting in the 13th position. And there is Daytona 500 winner Alex Bowman, starting 14th right beside him. But how about our point leader, Truex Jr., starting 15th in row number 8. He at least needs to try to get up to the field to keep his point momentum going. And there is Justin Allgaier making his first start here today. He will be starting 16th in the number 40. Noah Gragson trying to turn around his miserable start to the season. He starts 17th in row number 9. But how about Joey Logano starting 18th, pretty mid-pack of the field. But don't be surprised when we get near the end of this race, you'll see him in contention for the win. Chase Briscoe was able to finally find a turning point of his season after having a strong finish at Kansas Speedway, including the 41 of Ryan Preece, who was able to stop his flipping habit at Kansas. But he might get a little worried because, you know, that pace team doesn't PTSD. They round up the top 20. But at Kansas, Ross Chastain was able to start his. He starts 21st, however, in this race. And William Byron, once again, starting in row number 11. It really hasn't been a great swing of qualifying efforts for the 24, so hopefully he can at least turn it around and get back closer to the field. How about Jonathan Nemechek? Now he finds himself dead last in points. Hopefully he can turn things back around. And there's Christopher Bell and the number 20 right next to him. And this is for row number 12. And once again, we see Denny Hamlin pretty mid-pack in the field. He starts 25th in row 13 with Justin Haley and the number 7 right next to him with the Doorman Chevrolet colors here at Bermuda Triangle. 27th, we see Harrison Burton in number 21, Dutch Boy colors. And how about Bubba Wallace? Once again, starting near at the back of the pack. It has not been a great stretch for Bubba right now. Hopefully, he can turn things back around later on as the season progresses. And Shane Buddy, it's not a road course quite yet. He starts 29th here in row number 15, and Eric Jones right alongside of him, rounding up the top 30. Big shocker here in row number 16, Tyler Reddick, who scraped the wall during his qualifying effort. He starts 31st here today, and Ty Gibbs in the number 54 right next to him, starting at 32nd. And back in row 17, we once again see Daniel Hemrick in the number 31, but Michael McDowell, once again, not a good qualifying effort, so he starts 34th here today in this field. And neither as Daniel Suarez, as he's going to be starting 35th, not a good qualifying effort for him either. But holy cow, guys, here he is. That is actually Kevin Harvick in the number 29, making his only start here in the NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series. How awesome to see the number 29 paint scheme here in this field. He'll start 36 here today. And Cody Ware rounds up the field in 37th. And what a wild race it was for him at Kansas, and not in the good way, as Cody Ware was involved in all 3 accidents that took place in that race. And just recently, he was just recently put on probation because of his actions. And he's now being warned that if something like that ever does happen again, he could indeed, in fact, get suspended for the remainder of the season. So how about that for Cody Ware at number 51 earlier on in the season? That's definitely frustrating to hear for sure, especially if it's earlier on here in the season. But hey, rules are rules. I don't make them. I'm just here so I don't get fined. And yes, once again, we've actually had some drivers that were unable to qualify here for today's race. How about this? A big shocker. Austin Hill was unable to qualify here today. Obviously, we said that he was planning on making every single super speedway start. This one, it doesn't look like he will be able to, because he will be going home here today. And the 13th, Derek Rouse, really don't talk about him. But he was not able to qualify here today, so both of them are going to go home here today and watch this from the couch. Now, without any further ado, without any further delay, let's finally get those engines cranked here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway.
All right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Another emotional-filled command here as we're about to get ready to race here at this 2.5 mile long super speedway here at the Bermuda Islands. Really unique track here for the schedule. I really love how this track looks, and I'm super excited to see what these guys are capable of, and I hope you guys are too, because this is filled with 6 turns. And this is going to be one of those races that you will probably never forget, as we're about to close in on the green flag for the Pennzoil 400, and we are green here in St. George. And already you can see a third lane trying to form. The field is slightly getting scattered around as you see some of the pack is already trying to break away from one another. But the main pack continues to be led by Kyle Busch, who gets the early lead early on here in this race. And oh no! What has happened to Kyle Larson? He is on pit road. I'm not sure if there's something going on with the 5 of Kyle Larson, but I believe I'm being told it was probably something that happened here on the start of this race as we take a look back. Looks normal so far. Got the engine fired. Oh, the whole car just decided to stall. I've never seen that before. I'm not sure if that's a mechanical failure or that's something major. And it doesn't look like Kyle Larson is going to get the start that he wanted here at Bermuda Triangle. Definitely super frustrating to see if you're a Kyle Larson fan as well for the 5 crew of Kyle Larson. As we take a look back here in this field, you see Chase Elliott now currently finds himself in the second place position. And for Chase Elliott, I wouldn't say it is a bad start to the season so far for the 9 of Chase Elliott. He's currently 16th in points, which is a pretty decent position currently for the start of the season, but really hasn't been a competitive start so far for the 9 of Chase Elliott. I mean, he hasn't been rolling off the rails right off the gate, but Chase Elliott still with a comfortable position. And look at Truex Jr. now trying to make it 3 wide right there. And that's, like I said, that's the point leader. And he's trying to see if he could get some more points here to continue his point leads as he currently finds himself in the 3rd place position. I mean, what a start for the 19 of Truex Jr. so far this season. 3 straight top 5s, including a win at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the 600. And he finds himself as the point leader. So I would say that's a pretty good start for the 19 of Truex Jr. as he's trying to go for more. Trying to find second place to get in front of the 12 of Ryan Blaney. And look at Austin Dillon in the 3 right here. Currently in the 4th place position right now. And so far currently, it's been an up and down season for the 3 of Austin Dillon so far. He had some highlights at Daytona. Slightly come back from an accident on lap number 2. And at Kansas, well, he was pretty much non-existent. 26 currently in the points right now for Austin Dillon. 0 top 5s and 0 top 10s currently so far for the 3 of Austin Dillon. No laps led so far, so he's going to try to at least see if he can at least get some points here. And that's a terrible camera position, so apologies for that, folks. But now, speaking of which, Austin Dillon is actually trying to get the lead from his teammate, and he does. The 3 of Austin Dillon ends up getting the lead by getting the push from Josh Berry. Now he finds himself in the lead, and here comes some lap traffic already, as we talked about. The 5 of Kyle Larson stalled on the start of this race, and you hate to see that. Kyle Larson about to become the first driver a lap down already, and it hasn't even been 3 laps yet. But as for Kyle Larson, it's really not going to be a good position for Kyle Larson if he ends up finishing this, a lap down outside the top 30, because he's currently 14th in points, and this is something that you don't usually see coming from a driver like Kyle Larson. You guys are saying that he's the best driver in the world. I don't think he's the best driver in NR 2003, that's for sure, as he's getting under pressure to be under a lap down by our current race leader, Josh Berry, in the 4. And look at this great camera shot as everybody passes through that camera. It's such an amazing camera shot right there. You might want to be on the lookout for that in case we have some wrecks. That's going to be a wild camera to look at if there's some wrecks taking place here in this race as Josh Berry continues to lead right now. Here comes point leader Truex Jr. now trying to take a peek into the outside, but Josh Berry blots that lane immediately. But Kyle Larson continues to hold up that lane, continuing to be a challenge for some of these guys right here, as it's going to give some of the outside lane a chance right here. But now the 4 is making a peek down there on the bottom. There goes Josh Berry now trying to put Kyle Larson the lap down. He gets in front of Truex Jr. and it looks like he's going to do it. He clears Kyle Larson, and now Kyle Larson in the 5. How about that? 1 lap down already within the first 10 laps. That is definitely frustrating if you want to see if you're a Kyle Larson fan. So now you just gotta hope that Kyle Larson can at least make a somewhat of a decent comeback to at least get some decent amount of points. But let's talk about the 4 of Josh Berry. At Daytona, we saw him on front for a good majority of the day. Great qualifying effort for the 4 of Josh Berry at Daytona. He ended up starting in the top 5 in that race. He ended up leading 8 laps of that race and looked like he was going to be a contention to actually win the Daytona 500. But that's when the final restart came along, and he ended up pitting right before an accident took place, which ultimately halted the race and later was called off because of the accident, which that definitely screwed him over for having a good finishing position, which he ended up finishing 20th in that race. And another 20th place finish at Charlotte as well, as it was pretty much an up and down day for Josh Berry at Charlotte. And at Kansas, he was pretty much non-existent. He finished up 24th in that race. So 3 finishes inside the top 25. You say that's pretty good, right? Well, after those 3 races, he continued to drop and drop and drop in points. But thankfully, though, he's not deep in the points so far. He is currently 21st in the point standings right now. And as we focus on the 6 of Brad Keselowski, as we talked about, he is currently 3rd in the championship standings right now. So it has been a silent but solid start to the season so far for the 6 of Brad Keselowski. an 8th place finish at Daytona, a 2nd place at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but at Kansas, he did end up finishing in the 14th position, but he's still currently in the top 3 in points. But as we take a look back to the front right here, Todd Gilliland and Austin Cindric finds themselves into the top 2 right now. It's been a terrible start to the season for the 38 of Todd Gilliland, but Austin Cindric, though, however, he has been pretty decent. He's currently 17th in points right now. Only 64 points was earned throughout the entire start of the season. But obviously, if you end up leading laps here, that will definitely do you good, as that will give you an extra point in the point standings. But obviously, every position matters. So it doesn't matter if you get a point for leading a lap, or in fact, getting 2 extra points for leading the most laps. Every position matters here, because it doesn't matter if you are top of the charts of the championship right now. If you ended up ultimately, for example, if you finish outside the top 30 in points, and if you're a top 5 in points, you can definitely drop down significantly in points, because the guys behind you had a better finishing position than you. So you definitely don't want that to happen, especially if you're 17th in the points, because you could get deep in the points with that as well. But how about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 47, currently 2nd right now after passing Josh Berry for 2nd. He is currently 7th in the points right now, and he's trying to look for more right now. But real quickly, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has had a solid start to the season so far. In the first 3 races, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished inside the top 15 in all 3 of those races. 10th at Daytona, 12th at Charlotte, and an 8th place at Kansas Speedway. So that's surprising, coming from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to 47. Obviously, he's still Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in real life, but thankfully he's not that so far here in the season right now, as he currently finds himself as the leader here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway. And as you saw, he did let a lap, so he will get an extra point here. Coming out of Bermuda Triangle, like in the point system, you get a point for leading a lap here, and you get 2 extra points for leading the most laps. But we're still not even halfway done throughout this race yet, so still, anybody can grab that, because we have seen 6 lead changes here so far in this race. And it may not seem like a whole bunch, but as you see, the whole field is starting to get back together here, so we can still see a lot of different lead changes here throughout the race. As obviously, of course, this is a super speedway, and we've seen a lot of that happening IRL, so don't be surprised if we could see that happening as well here in this track. But as you can see, this lane is trying to go choo-choo here at Bermuda, so we may not see a whole bunch of it right now, but as you see here mid-pack, we do have a couple rows that is currently 3 wide so far, so this whole field is not a choo-choo train at the moment. So the field is still slightly equalized here at Bermuda Triangle. And as you see, we focus on the one of Ross Chastain trying to get inside the top 5. And of course, we saw from the previous race at Kansas, Ross Chastain actually ended up tumbling down the backstretch while he was running inside the top 3. So obviously we hope that Ross Chastain can at least finish off on a high note here. But let's talk about this. Truex Jr. seems to have fallen back a ton. He currently finds himself outside the top 20. That is not something you want to see if you're the point leader as a Truex Jr. He currently finds himself in the 25th position, and ultimately, you can understand his frustration. His car has not been good so far in the long run. Obviously, Truex trying to continue his top 10 streak going on, but now it's really in jeopardy because he finds himself in a pretty tough position outside the top 20, as we got a little less than 20 laps to go already here in this race. But now here comes the field. They are almost 3 wide right now for second. As a matter of fact, they were for just a second. But here comes the 3 of Austin Dillon and the 1 of Ross Chastain, trying to give Ricky Stenhouse a run for its money right now. Chastain trying to turn around his season, as well as the 3 of Austin Dillon. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. trying to stay in the top 10 in points right now. But Ross appears to be in trouble. There's really no one that he can work out with on that top lane, as Noah Gragson looks like he's trying to stay in his lane right now, but it does look like Ross Chastain did find a spot in the bottom lane, so he should be in a comfortable position as of right now. As we get close to 15 laps to go, it looks like the field is slightly stabilized now as they are calming down here just a bit. But Kyle Busch is trying to take the P onto the bottom side and almost make contact with the 3 of Austin Dillon. Unless he did, I'm not entirely sure if he did or not, but that was a close call right there for the 8 to get into the bumper up to 3. And boy, that was close to being a big wreck, because if the 3 would have went down on the 8, that would have ultimately been a major wreck out of turn number 1. And guys, I don't know if it's just me or not, but I think the other fans can also agree with me with this, but I've suddenly just started having butterflies in my stomach, and I'm getting a little nervous up to the point where I'm starting to sound like Dale Jr. And because I have to be honest with you guys, coming into this race, I've actually been having a lot of nightmares coming into this race, because I've seen cars slamming into the pit road wall. I've seen cars flying into the air, and I don't know why it's dawning on me now here on the broadcast, but I think it's just because that we're already halfway throughout this race so far, and things are getting very dicey here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway. As we see, now the 3 of Austin Dillon now takes the lead here at Bermuda Triangle, as we are halfway throughout this race now here on lap number 16. But right as we talked about Austin Dillon, look who's behind him in second. It's the 10 of Noah Gragson. This start as a whole for Haas Factory team has been abysmal, because Noah Gragson is currently 32nd in the points, and 3 of their drivers in Haas Factory team is currently below the top 30 in points. The highest so far, obviously, is the 4 of Josh Berry, as we mentioned, currently 21st in points. And I keep warning my camera crew to stop acting like farts, so I guess that's another written up note for them. So now that's another strike already for them, as now they're down to their last strike. And obviously, there's the 51 of Cody Ware, about to get a lap down now, and he already is. As we talked about Cody Ware, being on probation, especially after what happened at Kansas. We had 3 cautions for incidents at the Advent Health 400, and Cody Ware was involved in all 3 of them. And as a matter of fact, that Cody Ware was the main culprit about starting 2 of those accidents, so that's why Cody Ware is being placed on probation, because there is a rule in our rulebook saying that if you end up causing more than 1 accident, you could end up being warned for that, and that's what we saw from the 51 of Cody Ware. I'm not entirely sure why the probation thing is on there. That's a little bit, harsh in my book. I mean, I'm not trying to defend Cody Ware or anything, but I think the prevention thing is a little too much. I mean, I get it. Actions does have consequences, but I personally think that the officials there went a little bit unhinged. Meanwhile, this is not for the battle for the lead right now. This is actually the battle for 5th place. And it's between Chris Buescher and Chase Elliott. And Chris Buescher, as a matter of fact, he currently finds himself in the 2nd place position in points. It has been a pretty solid start for the season for the 17 of Chris Buescher. He currently finds himself 7 points behind the points leader, Truex Jr. And if this race would have ended right now, if Truex Jr. continues to be in the position he's in, that being 21st now, I think that's going to ultimately put Chris Buescher inside the points lead. So if Chris Buescher can stay inside the top 10, and if Truex Jr. can stay below the top 20, Chris Buescher is going to enter out of this race as the points leader. So we'll see how things happen here as Austin Dillon continues to show the way. The top 3, as a matter of fact, has broken away, and it's between the 3, the 10, and the 77 Carson Hocevar. We haven't even talked about Carson Hocevar just yet. Right now, he's currently in the top 5 in points, as a matter of fact. Currently 4th in the points right now for a Busch Light Clash winner. So definitely a solid start for the season for a Busch Light Clash winner. You usually don't see that every day, especially coming out from Carson Hocevar with all the mechanical failures that he's had in IRL. But hey, he's finding himself in a pretty decent position here in 3rd place. So we'll see how this top 3 can break things out, as we now have 10 laps to go. Here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway, the laps are winding down fast. It has been a clean race so far here at Bermuda Triangle. We haven't had a caution for incidents yet, and I want to talk about one thing. We do have one rule regarding about what happens here during our cautions, and if we actually end up having a caution with less than 5 laps to go, you may think that we might have an overtime rule. As a matter of fact, we do not have that applied here in the NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series. If the caution comes out with 5 laps to go, the race is over. No matter who's in front, when the caution comes out with 5 to go, the race is over. And we're getting pretty close to that, but right now, here comes the 38 of Todd Gilliland in the 4th place position. They are catching up to the top 3 packs, so this race is not over yet as the field is now trying to catch up to the top 3 in the pack right now. We're getting down to it, guys. We currently have 9 laps to go here at Bermuda Triangle. Ow! That was a close call right there between the 77 and the 38. Carson almost cleared himself like an idiot again. But how about this? The top 5 has caught up to this pack. As we approach here the closing laps here, when will everybody make their move? I mean, they still got plenty of time here as we do have approximately 8 laps to go here at Bermuda Triangle. But obviously, every position matters, so you have to make a move at one point. And here comes the 38 of Todd Gilliland, but the 12 of Ryan Blaney trying to make a 3rd lane down on the bottom right there. I'm not sure if that's going to work. Looks like it is right now. He is having a push by Kyle Larson, who is the lap car, by the way. Also, Kyle Larson looks like he's getting a push by Chris Buescher as well. So this is really going to help out the 12 of Ryan Blaney as we saw Carson Hocevar getting swallowed up by the field. He now drops back to the 6th place position. And oh boy, it's getting racy now as Ryan Blaney, who finds himself in the 3rd place position. Remember, he's the most recent race winner and is trying to become the first driver to ever go back-to-back here in the NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series. We haven't had a multi-time winner here yet here in the NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series, but Ryan Blaney now taking the peak, trying to take 2nd away from Noah Gragson, and they are side by side right now. Still not clear ahead yet of the 10 of Noah Gragson, and now the 12 is clear ahead of the 10. Now Ryan Blaney finds himself in the 2nd place position, trying to go back-to-back here in the NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series by winning 2 races in a row. But we'll see how the 3 of Austin Dillon can hold these guys off, as he currently still leads here at the Bermuda Triangle, with 7 laps to go here at Bermuda Triangle, coming into 6. And also, for clarification, Kyle Larson is not on the lead lap, so he is not within this pack. He is not currently listed in the 3rd place position. The 3rd place position actually belongs to the 22 of Joey Logano, and as I said before, don't be surprised if you see Joey Logano making a comeback to at least be in contention here within the closing laps of this race. And there's the 22 of Joey Logano right now, trying to make a pass for his teammate for 2nd. And I'm sure on the radio he's probably screaming, "Ah, forget Tab, I can smell the lead." He is smelling the lead right now as he's trying to take the lead away from the 3 of Austin Dillon. And oh boy, I am getting this close to throwing up in my seat because the butterflies in my stomach is really taking a turn on me right now. As we're getting down to it, 5 laps to go here at Bermuda Triangle. So it doesn't matter what happens here. If the caution would have come out within these next 5 laps, the race would be official. But now things are getting very racy now as Chase Elliott now finds himself into the 2nd place position. And Austin Dillon is in trouble right now, but thankfully with all those laps being led, I believe he's going to exit out of this one with the most laps led. So it's going to be a good points pay race for Austin Dillon nonetheless. But here comes the 8 of Kyle Busch. We haven't even talked about him since after he led the first few laps of this race. Now he comes back here to be in contention here. It has just been phenomenal racing here in the last closing laps here. As we now see the 3 of Austin Dillon continues to be in trouble here as he still has no one to help him out. That's going to drop him out of the top 10 here with 4 laps to go. And Joey Logano is now continuing the lead here at Bermuda Triangle, trying to see if he can at least put his name into the bucket of winners as Team Penske is trying to go back-to-back wins in the season so far, with Ryan Blaney obviously at Kansas. Joey Logano is trying to see if he can add his name and win here at Bermuda Triangle. As they exited out of turn number 4, guys, we're getting down to it. We're coming with 3 laps to go here at the Pennzoil 400, so it doesn't matter what happens here. No matter if the caution flag comes out, this race will be official. As of course, we got no overtime rule here in the NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series, as we got 3 laps of racing to go. And we focus on the 6 of Brad Keselowski. We haven't even talked about him all day. Now he is looking to try to get inside the top 3 to pass Carson Hocevar. Still side by side right now, hasn't cleared away from him yet. As the 77 Carson Hocevar still not giving him an inch right now. But look right here on the bottom lane. The 40 of Justin Allgaier. Where in the world did he come from? Now all of a sudden, we see Justin Allgaier now in the top 3 right now, trying to be in contention. How big of an upset this would be for the 40 team and Junior Motorsports. Not a full-time team here in the NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series. 2 laps to go. And here he comes now, trying to get second place away from Chase Elliott. This is outstanding with 2 laps to go. Holy cow, what a race has this become as Justin Allgaier all of a sudden trying to pull an upset victory here at Bermuda Triangle. The question is, does Justin Allgaier have enough time to get in front of the 22 of Joey Logano? And how will Joey Logano race the 40 of Justin Allgaier? As they enter down the back straightaway into turns number 5 and 6, Joey Logano, Justin Allgaier in contention here for the win, and here comes Justin Allgaier on the bottom side. The crowd is on their feet here for amazing racing here as we take the white flag here at Bermuda Triangle. Justin Allgaier trying to pull an upset. Still side by side, coming into turn number 1. Joey Logano fighting super hard, getting a push by the 5 of Kyle Larson, a left down car. Justin Allgaier getting a push at the bottom by the 10 of Noah Gragson. How awesome would this be if Noah Gragson can also win this race? Several guys, excluding Kyle Larson, are looking for their first win here in the NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series. The 22 and the 40 still side by side. And as they enter out of turn number 5 and to turn number 6 for the final time, as they come across the line, unbelievable! Out of nowhere, Justin Allgaier will drive the victory in his first NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series start. Oh my word, the crowd is on their feet. This is unbelievable what was seen. Justin Allgaier, who would have thought coming into this race, Justin Allgaier would have come into this race and ended up being in contention on the final few laps and ends up driving to victory here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway. Did anybody have him winning? I sure didn't. Unbelievable turn of events here on the final lap here at Bermuda Triangle. Justin Allgaier in the number 40 for Junior Motorsports pulls an insane upset victory, and he is your winner here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway. And as the finish was going on, I was watching the pit bots of the number 40 team. They went absolutely insane when Justin Allgaier crossed the finish line first. And not a bit surprised, I saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. up on the pit bots watching Justin Allgaier be in contention. And I was listening to their communications, and as soon as Justin Allgaier crossed the finish line, I heard Dale Jr. yell, "Pancakes!" And that's when everybody started freaking out and rejoicing. Unbelievable what we saw here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway. An upset victory here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway to wrap up the 4th race of the NASCAR Fastenal Cup Series for the Pennzoil 400. Let's take a look at your results. Man, how about the 40 of Justin Allgaier? Completely shook the whole entire field by coming out of nowhere to end up getting the victory here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway. And Joey Logano, who was leading when the white flag came out, tried desperately to try to see if he could stay in front of the 40 of Justin Allgaier. I can't even speak right now. I am stuttering right now. I am completely shaking. And I usually don't have that happen. I usually don't shake. And wow, I am still shaking. I'm still trying to process over that finish, man. But man, that was an incredible finish about what we saw there with a major upset. Joey Logano ends up coming home in the 2nd place position. Noah Gragson, who was up there in contention, a much-needed 3rd place position here for Noah Gragson. That will definitely jump him up in points. Austin Dillon ends up finishing home in the 4th place position, and Todd Gilliland wraps up the top 5. As we see pole winner Kyle Busch in the 6th place position, Chase Elliott 9th, Ryan Blaney, our most recent winner, tries to go back-to-back, comes home in 8th place. Brad Keselowski in the number 6 finish home in 9th, and Carson Hocevar rounds up the top 10 here at Bermuda Triangle. Chris Buescher continues his top 15 streak as he finished home in the 11th place position, as well as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with another 12th place finish. Also good points paying race for the 4 and the 14. A much needed day for a Haas factory team for sure, as they both come home 13th and 14th. AJ Allmendinger, John Hunter Nemechek, surprisingly, with a 16th place position. That will definitely help him out in points. Ryan Preece was able to finish another one. Austin Cindric, who was up there in contention at one point, finished home in 18th. Then it's Tyler Reddick and Danny Hamlin. Big namers, pretty deep, pretty mid-pack of the field, but they still ended up home with the top 20. A lot of namers below the top 20 right here, as we see Bubba Wallace, Chastain, Bowman, Bell, Byron. And points leader Martin Truex Jr. in the number 19 comes home in the 27th position, with Chris Buescher coming home in the 11th place position. That is more than likely going to move Chris Buescher up into the points lead now, as Martin Truex Jr. had a terrible result here today. Shane Van Gisbergen, Ty Gibbs, Eric Jones bounce off the top 30. This column alone right here is really going to swing the point standings up majorly. As we look at the final list right here, Michael McDowell was just absent all day long, and unfortunately we were unable to talk about the 29 of Kevin Harvick. A bad day for him, 32nd. At least he was able to get some laps in, but yeah, it's really sucks to see Kevin Harvick not be in contention all day today. Of course, Daniel Hamilton, the number 31, comes home 33rd. Daniel Suarez, a bad day for him too, comes home in the 34th position. And Harrison Burton comes home in the 35th position. And then the final two cars were not on the lead lap, that being Cody Ware and Kyle Larson. How about Kyle Larson only getting 1 point here today, of course, after being stalled on the first lap of this race. A terrible points-paying race for Kyle Larson. Very definitely frustrating for sure, and that will definitely drop Kyle Larson in points. So now he's going to be in a particular predicament as we get closer to the second half of the season. But yeah, definitely not what you want to see if you're Kyle Larson, if you're a fan of Larson as well, as he finishes home in the 37th position, 2 laps down here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway. And now, folks, let's take a look at your point standings. And look right there at 36. Justin Allgaier, although he may be ineligible, he does have a win column under his belt after an unbelievable upset here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway. But we do have a lot of changes here in the point standings. Martin Truex Jr. does indeed loses the points lead and drops down to 4th place after coming home in the 27th position. And that actually bumps up Buescher, Keselowski, and Hocevar inside the top 3 right now, as once again, the points battle looks tight, as Chris Buescher barely has the point lead over his teammate and boss, Brad Keselowski, by 1 point. Carson Hocevar, though, however, is separated by 6 points between Chris Buescher and Carson Hocevar in the top 3. So it's really going to be a battle for nutrition as we get earlier on into this race here. But man, what a crazy race here today at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway from start to finish. Man, it was getting scary, but thankfully though, my nightmares did not come true. But boy, do I have a headache. Next up, we move on to our first road course on the schedule, that being Sonoma Raceway for the Toyota Save Mart 350. For the first time this season, we will have a section of right-hand turns all around the course. And be prepared, because I'm pretty sure as we move on to that race, Shane Van Gisbergen is definitely going to have a smile on his face, because IRL, he dominated that race. So we'll see what he does here at Sonoma Raceway as we move on to that one next, for the Toyota Save Mart 350 for race number 5 of the season. Oh boy, guys, and that's going to conclude things off for Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway. I have a headache, man. I at least need to get some water or something, because I am parched. Thank you all so much for tuning in into this race. It was a phenomenal race from start to finish. I hope you guys will continue on as we get closer to the second half of the season as we move on to Sonoma Raceway. Hope to see you guys then, and until next time, whatever comes next, God bless you, and I'll see you guys whenever the next video comes out. I got a lot of things planned in store for you guys here in the next couple of weeks, so be prepared for that. And yeah, that's going to do it for our coverage here at Bermuda Triangle Superspeedway. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you guys at Sonoma Raceway. Whew, what a battle. Hey, Dale Jr., save some pancakes for me, buddy.